Ilyai, Karamawiyai Nagus Nagas, Karamawiyai Imperiali Selassie Ja, Rastafari, live, rule, and reign in the hearts of all flesh. Blessings and love, family. Coming with a reasoning today. Rastafari reasoning for the world. It's a touchy topic. We don't really want to touch it. The truth hurts. It brings up unhealed wounds. It brings up emotions. It brings up thoughts. But the only way that we can be set free is to face the truth and to acknowledge the truth and to bring the truth forward. We're going to be talking today about why Ethiopia is in the state of chaos it is in today. Ethiopia is a war-torn nation that's been at civil war for the last 6 years. This conflict revolves around the Oromio People's Prosperity Party, Abiy Ahmed, and the Tigrinya Party and Amhara people. It's a very, very bad situation what's going on in Ethiopia, and Ethiopians don't really want to talk about it, and it's not really being highlighted. But this all started about 52 years ago, back in the year 1974, during the reign of His Imperial Majesty, Karamawi Nagus Nagas Karamawi Haile Selassie I, Ababa Janai Haile Selassie Rastafari, King of Kings of Ethiopia. Haile Selassie did many, many innovative, progressive developments to modernize and to civilize Ethiopia. I can't list them all because we'll be here for years. A few of the things that Haile Selassie did was establish Ethiopian Airlines, the Bank of Abyssinia, University of Addis Ababa, the Constitution of Ethiopia. He also abolished slavery. He modernized the country, bringing in modern railways, modern lighting, and modern electricity, and modern streets. All of these things were done in and around the 1930s era. 1930 to 1974 is the reign of Haile Selassie, one of the longest, actually the longest reigning monarch in the history of mankind. I don't know of any other modern ruler who has ruled for 44 years. Actually, another one of the unprecedented achievements of His Imperial Majesty was the fact that Haile Selassie addressed the League of Nations and the United Nations, both in the capacity of head of state. He is the only leader of a nation to actually do this. Barack Obama never did this. George Bush never did this. Bill Clinton never addressed the League of Nations and the United Nations. JFK never did this. One of the big generous things that Haile Selassie did, generosities for Ethiopia, was he sent a lot of the top military officials and top government officials abroad to learn in schools in Russia, Europe, and America, so that they could have European knowledge of how to run a country and how to modernize and implement knowledge to make life for the people better. But oftentimes, what happens when our parents send us away to university, we're partying and drinking and not studying the curriculum. We're not doing exactly what our parents send us off to actually do. I'm not saying Mengistu Haile Mariam was partying and drinking, but Mariam Mengistu did not learn the ways to develop a country or run a country. He went to Russia and learned Marxism and communism. And as we can see in Cuba, as we can see in China, and as we can see in most parts of Africa, communism just leads to mass public executions, mass civil unrest, political instability, agricultural famine. Now, in 1974, when Mengistu Haile Mariam and the Derg imprisoned Haile Selassie in Estefanio's church, on the third day of Haile Selassie's imprisonment, he actually vanished. disappeared. We Rastas can't say if he went here or went there. The Ethiopians can't say he went here or went there. There's no conclusive evidence on where the disappearance of Haile Selassie happened, but I will say it was similar to Elijah and the chariot of fire. He was in a locked cell in Estefanio's church with guards outside the church, outside the cell. And on the third day, when the guards checked the cell, the gate was locked, but the king was not inside the cell. So there were a lot of rumors and a lot of lies. The history was rewritten. You know, the victors always write the history in their favor. So Mengistu, I think Mengistu made a claim that he personally, you know, disposed of the emperor in this way or that way. It's pure blasphemy. Mengistu is just a complete liar. He's a great liar. During 1984 and 1985, Ethiopia experienced some of the worst famine ever experienced in the history of Ethiopia. The Derg was trying to blame Haile Selassie for famines in the 70s. These famines that the Derg experienced were unprecedented compared to what happened in the 70s under Haile Selassie's rule. The Derg executed 70 of the top royal family members of the monarchy that were part of the government. They executed all the military, they executed all the government officials that had to do with the royal Ethiopian monarchy at the time in the 70s. And then in the 90s, the Derg was responsible for even more millions of catastrophes and deaths and executions in Ethiopia. The Derg was just a murderous, torturous regime. When I was in Ethiopia, the prime minister was Meles Zenawi. There was relative stability and relative peace when I was in Ethiopia in the year 2014 under Prime Minister Meles Zenawi. But now under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, it is just bloodthirsty dog eat dog. It's like the dictator of Cambodia. I can't remember his name, but the dictator in Cambodia, when he was just killing all his people for no reason. You know, it seems like Abiy Ahmed is following, you know, the dictators of China and the dictators of Cambodia. He's killing off his own people for political power. The Amhara have no voice. The Oromo, I don't know what's up with them, but the Tigrinya are fighting against everyone. The Oromo are fighting. A country can't prosper if all of the young people are at war for a very long extended period of time. It just doesn't work. Resources, money, inflation, everything goes to hell when a country's at war. But for some reason, the banks prosper. And so Ethiopia is borrowing a lot of money from the World Bank and the IMF to build these bombs and to build these banks and to build these streets in Addis. Why is there such a wealth gap? Why is there such disparity and such poverty still in Ethiopia if certain parts of Addis are experiencing unprecedented economic growth? Economic growth is not a sign of prosperity. A sign of prosperity is health, well-being, happiness, mental stability, welfare of the people, distribution of wealth. It's not to be just a few people having, 2% of Ethiopians enjoying the high life in Addis, and then 99% of Ethiopians are starving and dying of diseases, malaria and yellow fever. If Ethiopia continues on this path with Abiy Ahmed and the Prosperity Party, Ethiopia could be worse than Eritrea or Somalia, or worse than Bangladesh. Even this is the future of Ethiopia. They're trying to turn Ethiopia into like a Bangladesh or like a Mumbai. And if you want this to happen to your country, you stand by and you keep partying all night in Addis Ababa. You keep following the Chinese. You keep following the World Bank and the IMF and all of these nations that want to exploit your country for the mineral resources. Look at how it is in Nigeria. Look at how it is in Ghana. You want Ethiopia to be this way? Keep selling out the country to the Chinese. Keep selling out the country to the Europeans. And Ethiopians will be economic slaves. Ethiopians will be subjects unto the bankers and subjects unto the wealthy people. Ethiopia used to be a free country. No more. There needs to be a solution. Ethiopians, remember your king, Emperor Haile Selassie I, because it's not too late. If we follow the teachings of Haile Selassie I, we can save the country. But under the teachings of Abiy Ahmed, the country is doomed. God bless Ethiopia. God bless America. May all the wars stop in Russia and all the wars in Palestine and Iran come to an end. May the greedy bankers in America and may the greedy bankers in Africa distribute the wealth unto the poor. Because like Tupac said, eventually one day the poor are going to come for the rich. And the poor might just eat the rich. Okay? So, you rich man in Addis Ababa, in your big mansions, you know, when those Oromo rise up, you know, when the Oromo rise, they want revenge for what happened in the time of Menelik. I'm learning the history. I'm learning this history that y'all don't want to teach us. You know, I know the history of Ethiopia. If you want to know some good history about Haile Selassie, get this book right here. A Glimpse of Greatness by Abebe Ambetachu. And if you want to know more speeches of Haile Selassie I. These speeches here, you know, if you follow the lessons of Haile Selassie, Ethiopia can be redeemed. You have all the plans, development plans for Eritrea. You have all the plans. All you have to do is follow it. You know, you have plans. Haile Selassie had plans for Ethiopia. Visit to Hawassa. You have much plans, but you don't. You have to listen to the man. You have to listen to the king. Anyway, bless. Haile Selassie the first, live, rule, and reign in the heart of all flesh. Ethiopia to the world. We have to save the country. Haile Selassie.